Hey everyone, and welcome to Shuriken Skills number 65 here in the Work Smarter Not Harder dojo with me, Tony Harmer, aka the Design Ninja. This Shuriken skill is to learn the most basic use of opacity masks in Illustrator. And in this document, hiding behind this image, which I'm just going to cut to the clipboard, we'll use it a little bit later on, is this logo, and I'd like to blend this down on this kind of tankish like background just a little bit more. So to illustrate opacity mask to you, I'm going to open up first of all the transparency panel, which you can find in the window menu if you're not seeing it down towards the bottom there. And then I'm going to get a rectangle, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle more or less across the middle of the logo here, and I'll just change the fill color to white. You'll see why in just a second. I'll then select both of those things and come across to the transparency panel, and then I'm going to click this button on the right here, Make Mask. And when I click that, you'll see that it looks very similar to an alpha mask in Photoshop, in that white reveals and black conceals. Well, Illustrator's a little bit different in that it's a vector shape on this mask. So for example, you can see where the logo isn't showing because there's nothing present. You can turn the clipping off there, okay, and it will ignore the black background. You can also completely invert the mask, and if you've got black artwork that you're bringing down on there and a couple of other cases, you might want to do that as well. So I'm going to target the mask here. I'm just going to click on it, and it's really important that you remember that if you want to work on the mask, click on it, but when you want to go back to your artwork, to click on that, because otherwise you'll just be working in the mask. But if I focused on it, you can see there's a highlight around it. So I'm going to just do something to the rectangle here, and I'm basically going to give it a gradient fill. So I'll just choose this white to black gradient, and you can see that where it's white, it's fully opaque, and where it's black, it is fully transparent, and the grays in between carefully blend that in. Well, there are a number of different things you can do with this, but what I'm going to do is just delete the shape. Remember, the logo is still there, you can still see it, but I'm then going to paste in that logo, which, if you remember, is a grayscale image with kind of a rough texture on it. And I photograph textures for use in things like this all the time. And it does a really neat job of doing that. Now, I could blend that still further, okay, by changing the opacity of the image on the mask. You can see that that will change it somewhat as well. But I can also go back to the artwork and then change the opacity of that as well. And indeed, the blending mode may well help in a few occasions. And just finally, if you want to get rid of the mask, you simply come over to the transparency panel and click Release, and it will release both things here. And I can just go to the image, and if I just delete that for a second, there's the logo. And that's your Shuriken skill to practice this time. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and you can feedback to me either here or via Facebook or Twitter. But for now, we're done. And I'll see you next time for another Shuriken Skills episode. See ya.